Welcome back, guys, to another episode of A Seat at the Table, where we have dope conversations over food. And today's going to be another one of those edutainment days where you're going to learn something today. You're going to leave with little jewels, little nuggets, right? My name is Marcus Avery.
Chef Cam.
Ashley Roth.
And today we've got
Randall Avery.
Right. You want to get your business right? This is the man. Randall Avery is also an author of a book called Hacking the System by Creating Your Own System. And we'll go through that kind of stuff today too. All right, man. So let's talk about what is it that you do?
Yeah. So I work as a financial advisor, and I'm what you call a registered investment advisor. There's a lot of finance folks that are gurus, but I, 24/7, help people manage their money. So day in and day out, I do things like trade different stocks and securities. Just this morning, I did a transaction where I gave a client $55,000 just for them to enjoy their retirement, while also this morning trading $100,000 of equity for their portfolio. So there's a difference between speaking financial knowledge, but there's another thing when you actually manage and entrust it with somebody's money. And that's what I do day in and day out. And I do talks like this to really kind of share the information, because unless you know what to do, you don't know what to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, man. So let's talk about, so you've been in this game these 12 years of finance. Do you mind running down what your portfolio is and where you've been and stuff that you've done?
So it's been a little bit of a journey. I think the number one thing that to enjoy this job you have to have is you have to love people, okay? And the second part of it is I love learning about money, not what money can do. A lot of people just like it to have, to keep, to spend and use, but I love the study of it, how people interact, cross over, and that study led me into this career profession. But I graduated college in 2008 when there was a recession.
Yes.
And everybody knows when they go through their career, there's going to be bumps and turns. So I didn't start off in finance after graduate college. I actually did a little time in internal audit. Spent about 7 years after that doing corporate finance. But like everybody probably in this room, you guys wanted your own business, wanted to call your own shots, do your own things. And that desire was deep within me. And I got to the point where I'm about to turn 30. I need to make that leap. So I made that leap probably around 4 years ago, and it's been a journey, and I've been enjoying it ever since.
Amazing.
All right, man. So you have the book. It's available on Amazon,
right,
and also rsaddiesel.com, rsaddeasil.com. If you want to go check that out, well, you should check that out. Not once, you should check that out. It's a great book. All right. Now, let's talk about your economic, social, and investment model breakdown.
So one of the things that I thought about in the book was that people want the little tidbits of financial advice, but I think people don't need a model to help them spend money, but also invest money. Mm-hmm. So I want everybody on this table to think about what was the last purchase you had that was around $100. Give you a second to think about that.
Outfit.
An outfit, there you go. Okay, and what was your last purchase for over $100?
Probably some shoes.
Probably some shoes, okay.
Mine was a Christmas gift for somebody.
Christmas gift, that's nice. I love that. So one of the things was, before you buy, there should be some type of criteria. I believe that services and products should earn your money at the end of the day. So we're going to go down a list of questions today and say, using the model, and say, these are the things that we should do. So the first one is, how does the product and service fit fulfilling your purpose? So what was your thing that you recently bought?
Well, I needed some new shoes simply because, you know, I walk on the balls of my feet, right?
Yep.
So anything with like a foam or mesh kind of really fits my type foot or whatever. But I could have done without them at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
The luxury.
Yeah. What about yours, sir?
A coat.
A
I
coat?
bought a coat. Yeah, it was cold outside. I was like, it's wintertime. I wanted to be a little fresh for the season. So I bought me a jacket.
Okay, yes, and yours for your gift? A humidifier. Okay, to help
And
people
it
breathe.
was like 150 too. It was over 100, so I probably did bad.
Oh, wow, that was nice.
Okay. Fancy.
So the first question is, okay, what is it used for? Does it fulfill your purpose? The second question is, and there's two vocabulary words we're going to use, is human capital. Okay, human capital is your ability to make money. So you're a chef. You work in the entertainment industry, and I believe I've heard that you wish to be a journalist. So those skill sets that you hone in to actually make yourself money. The second portion is your financial capital, money in your bank. How does that purchase affect the money that is actually in your bank account now? So when you think about spending money, ask yourself, is this giving me skills and abilities to produce more money, or is it actually increasing the money that I have in my place? Okay. And the third and the last one, how does that thing or service that I bought increase my network? So think about the people in your network, the people that you need to meet to actually gain more income for yourself. Is going out getting those pair of shoes to run with individuals of like-mindedness?
Right.
Is that coat to be where you go places where it's cold to meet different people? And there's that human environment going to help you breathe and inhale to really network with other people. So think about how that purchase actually increases your ability to make money. So that first part is called the economic model.
Right.
Okay. And I think most people try their best to fulfill the economic model. But it's really the social model. That part is what really stumps a lot of people. And that second part is the products and services you have, who owns it?
That's what people don't think about.
They don't think about it.
Because like you talk about the economic, we'll say that again, the economic
The
value.
economic model.
The economic model.
Yeah.
Okay, see, subconsciously, maybe not even subconsciously, like you said, that was I wearing when I get in the coat to be around people to, present myself in a way where I can make more money, make
Right.
better, network. You
Right,
understand?
right.
So like, well, of course you understand, but then you think about the social part of it. Yeah, that's the part that misses a lot of people. I think we all have that mentality, like, well, I want to get these shoes because I got to work every day. I need to be comfortable.
Yep.
I buy knives and things that are very expensive, but I know this knife is going to cut this meat one time instead of 2 times where I'm losing service time. Where it just I have mental tendencies that I've developed in my field, so I know already this is going to help me. As opposed to being younger and mature, I was like, damn, I just want these shoes. They look good. I want this. I just want this shit because I want to look fly. You feel me? So I guess kind of we all subconsciously are conscious of what we're doing. You know what I mean? But how do you? And I guess you're already about to get into it. The social model of it. Who owns it? Who's making the money off of it? I guess is what you want to say.
And I think the economic model is very easy for an individual who owns their own business because you think about the utility of everything that you buy. But the next step is, do you know the owner of the products and services that you buy? Because when we do, and we've all experienced this, you enjoy that product just a little bit more because I know it came from Billy Bob. Billy Bob grew up across the street from me. He knew my family. He goes to the events and things that I do, and I love having conversations with him. So really these models are really to help you enjoy the things that you have while at the same time bringing more money into your pocket. So the next question is, who is the owner? The second thing for the product service you buy is, what does that company stand for? Right. Do they believe in some of the things that you believe in? Do they help out the people that you wish for them to help out? We all heard this. You buy goods or services, they take that money and put that in their own community.
Yes.
So the question is, how is this product or service helping our community? And once you challenge that, that should challenge how you buy and purchase really anything. And the last thing is, how does the product and service, those who sell that product service, treat you? We've been in a store where they followed us around the store.
Absolutely.
We've been in situations where we didn't feel comfortable. We don't feel wanted. We've been in companies and worked jobs, had bosses that really at the end of the day did not want us around. The question is, why are we there?
Facts.
And there's no way we can get 100% or any company or service can get 100% on the score. But your job is to always continually move forward toward having that 100%, having those experiences and enjoying spending. And that's what I think a lot of people are missing out on is, hey, how can I enjoy what I spend, which what we all want to do, but also get that network, have those friends, have those experiences that make us enjoy our money. And when you enjoy your money, you actually save more and you actually spend better.
Yeah, keep it in the community.
That's
It
right.
sounds like that's where you're leaning towards. Like, I think, and I personally feel like it's very important to keep it in your own community. Keep it whether, everybody does it.
Yep.
All walks of life do it.
Yes.
Jews, Chinese, Asians, Italians, Black people should do it as well. And I feel like we don't do enough of that. And I kind of feel like, that's very true what you're saying, but people just don't have the knowledge of it. They're too concerned with Gucci and Versace and what sounds good instead of like, your own people have products. There's many Black creators, artists, businessmen, entrepreneurs that have their own brands, own clothing lines, own things that they have pushing. So how do you teach somebody to go that way as opposed to going?
I think one of the first thing is,
especially as an investor,
Yeah.
because you benefit off of,
Yeah.
I'm sure, a lot of these white wealthy companies as well.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you kind of like hone people into it?
I think the best way, if you want to, and you want to encourage others around you, is share that experience with them. Okay, so when I go out with clients, I'm selective on the restaurant I go to. Okay, and I also have clients who believe in what I believe in. So that's kind of a benefit that a lot of people don't have. So I share them those experiences. Tell them what you're about to do beforehand. While you're there, explain why this is important to you and it should be important to them. And once they start experiencing those things, you just can't go to Buckhead and spend $200 on a restaurant when you could have a personal chef come into your home, cook for you and your lady, and really enjoy that experience. There's two different ways to live life. Which one you can help somebody, a company that you entrust and believe in, or you can go out on the town, pay for parking, probably pay 3 times as much. But when you go back home and you're at home and you think and you lay on your bed, what did I do good today? Who did I affect today? Think about those things, and I think those things move the needle.
Right. So you're more of a community person, like a black, like buy black type deal, and buy those in your community because the dollar can kind of keep bouncing around in that community.
That's correct. Because usually by default, it's the focus on the people who look like you or the people you want to support.
Absolutely.
But there's a caveat to that.
Yeah.
All those in our community do not support us.
Absolutely.
Facts.
That is
So
definitely
just
true.
because you buy just by skin color, that sometimes make you just as prejudiced as some of our white counterparts. So it's really digging that step deeper is not only is he in our community, but what is he doing with the money, his profits?
And experience.
Yes, it's a
the
full out experience.
That's very important you said that, because the experience, like, yeah, you can go to a restaurant, like me, I'm a chef. So you can go to a restaurant, you can go somewhere and spend all this money on parking and the food, like you said, and they probably gonna give you not as much service because they have to cook for 300 people. Correct. Like when I'm working, I gotta serve 200 to 300 people a night. I can't put all the attention I want to on one person's plate. As opposed, if you come to me, holler at me, Chef Cam, blah, you know what I'm saying? Go to my website. But check me, like you come see me, I'm gonna give you 1,000,000 times more effort on that one plate. Making sure your experience is second to none. It's that experience, like you said. Like if I could take you to a black-owned restaurant, and I just know you're gonna get better service there. I'm not necessarily doing it because they're black. Right. I'm doing it because I know you're gonna get your best experience here. So that's very important. Like experience is, and they say experience is the best teacher. So it really just goes to show it all speaks for itself. And
it really goes down to, people say, well, Randall, you're all about saving money. I am about saving money and really being responsible. But I want people to truly live their lives. And part of those living their lives is that experience, that really enjoying the fruits of life. And that's actually commingling, networking, and being connected with the individual. And once you eliminate that connection, you start just seeing some of the bad money habits that I've been able to observe over my career.
Right. So what is talking about bad money habits, what is the main thing that you see consistently when you're dealing with new clients and you're taking them on board? What is the first thing or the main thing you see? Yeah.
So for me, I have 2 different types of clients. I have clients that are kind of the pre-retirees, and they've pretty much done what they need to do. They invest their money, they've stacked up, and all I'm doing is helping them down that slope to retirement. So the saying is, they took the plane up to 1,000 feet. My job is to help them land that plane. So they have those things in line. But I do have a separate set of clients where I help them budget and what I call cash flow management. The number one thing they have issues with, they don't watch what they spend. And they're also not intentional with their spending. Asking yourself these questions, do I need these things? What is going to come up in my future? Is some of the things I worry the most about. And the second part is they have a poor job of anticipating the future. I deal with all adults. Average age of my client is 45 years old. So they've lived life. But they never see that bad times can actually come. Right. Things happen to me, my loved ones, those I care about. So having those reserves is actually kind of just that responsibility of being an adult and being aware of what can actually happen. So the 2 things is, first one, knowing what they spend and why they spend it. And the second part is anticipating those future things that knock somebody off the wagon.
Absolutely.
And you just have to get away from that mindset that you can make it back, because that used to be me. I used to spend, I can make it back. I'll make it back next week. So I got it. I had to get away from that mindset. Okay, so you graduated from Georgia State.
That's right.
Did you first person question? Did you accumulate a lot of loans, or did you have any grants or Hope Scholarship to help you along the way?
Yeah, so I was a typical student. I was the first generation to go to college. And the issue with that, and a lot of people deal with, is they don't know how to pay for college. We have a lot of lectures on how to get into college, write the essay, make the grades. So I went into college. So the next step is, how do you pay for it? And they come off with something called student loans. They say, get the student loans. They're good debts. They're something that you should have. It's almost a sense of pride to have those debts.
Trick.
So it's a big trick. And even myself, as a finance major, I looked at it, the interest rates were low. I didn't have to pay on them for so long. So I felt sophisticated when I took them out, right? So I graduated, with $46,000 of student loan debt from Georgia State. And that was not from the actual tuition, that was living expenses. Living downtown is expensive. So yes, I did graduate with student loan debt.
How do you go about paying those off? Because I still have student loan debt as well.
And what I see from my clients, those people I talk to, is a lot of people try to avoid student loan debt. So they try to pretend like it doesn't exist. They defer them, and they, like I said, they have a sense of pride. I went to college, so that's why I have student loan debt, and I did something good. So they kind of hold on and they say, I'll pay them off when I die, or I'll hold them until I die and won't have to worry about them. That's the wrong thing to do. Okay, the first reason is, if you don't pay them and they are in default, and 11% of student loans are in default, they hurt your credit score. Right? They inhibit your ability to buy a house. And when you don't have things like buy a house, and they hold back jobs, getting a job, they actually hold you back from starting a family. So this is a hindrance in our community, because they say the average student loan debt when they graduate is around $28,000, right? But that's the average. In the African American community, because we have to work so much harder, we have to have that extra degree. Ours is around 40, 50, even six figures if you go to a private student loan education. So the question is, how do you address those debts? So the first one is to make the decision that I'm going to pay those debts off, no matter how big they are, because they are hindering your ability to enjoy life. I'm not all about saving. I'm about enjoying life to its maximum potential. The first thing you do is take inventory. List out all the student loans that you have. Know the interest rates for each one, okay, and their balances. Order them from highest to lowest, the highest balance outstanding, and just hit each one, starting from the lowest to the highest, and turn it into a little game for yourself. Because as you get that momentum, and there's something weird about doing the right thing.
Now it feels good.
You feel
I
good.
want them loans
Man, I'm
gone.
telling you,
Okay.
I not to cut you off, but that's a very good point, because a lot of people think of it like a task. Like, man, I got credit, I got debt, what am I going to do? But if you look at it like, well, how fast can I remove this? How fast can I improve
Close
on
to the
this?
financial freedom.
And I'm like, since I've been into that realm and dabbling in that world, even little achievements I make, like if I get 20 points from my credit, or if I save $100 that I didn't, I didn't spend this on nonsense. I went and saved it. It feels good. It's almost like a reward, like a self-reward.
It's a true snowball. Doing good, no matter if it's working out, eating right, saving money, it makes you want to do other things that good. It transcends just that little activity. So when you start paying off those student loan debts, you get it, you feel empowered. Not only that, is you're motivated to pay more on that student loan debt. So you're motivated to earn more income. You hustle just a tad bit harder. A little bit because you're sacrificing to pay those student loans, but also you want to pay those off faster. So you're looking for different ways to get money, which means you become innovative, which becomes new ideas to make more money. Okay.
Very much so.
And the last bit when you start paying off your debts is you can't go out as much, right? You're not doing those things that you want to do. So you really find what makes you happy. It forces you to prioritize. And it forces you to learn how to enjoy life without spending money. And I think that's the thing a lot of people miss. You can enjoy life talking to people, just sitting from across from somebody, having a phone conversation. Those are the things you're forced to enjoy and get the full fruit of life. So when you're done with your student loans, then you are empowered. Every dollar goes through that economic and social model, because you're really trying to use every dollar to make you happy instead of trying to put a facade, because you're really hurting inside because there's other debts that you have to manage.
Yeah, that's really true. It's crazy. It all boils back down to the experience. Life is all about experience. It's all about what you want to enjoy, whether hopefully it'll be good. Some people enjoy things that aren't very good. But you know, yeah, it's all like it's a full circle. You know what I'm saying? You do good, you handle your business, and you enjoy the fruits of your labor, and then you know, motivate you to do better and do more. Like I sit around, I'm like, damn, I want to put such amount of money in my savings, but I want to buy something for my car. I want to go do this. So I know I need to make more money to save more money.
Right.
So therefore later I can enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that's real.
That's good.
You won't be driving a brand new car and then be like, dang, I'm gonna pay off the next payment.
Exactly.
So,
Living beyond your means, man.
Yeah, I'm slowly learning to live in my means. Maybe you can help me with that.
And a lot of it, I like what you keep on saying, experience, because a lot of things, if you're not exposed to having that reserve pot, to, you know, prioritize paying off debts, somebody taught you how to spend,
Yes.
okay, that not only aligns with, you know, the model that you have in your head, but your moral system, then you don't know how.
Right.
So somebody has to teach you. Or you have to be around somebody who you can observe, saying, I like the way they spend. I like the way they carry themselves, not only from a aesthetics look standpoint, but from a peace of mind with money. And that opens up actually talking to people about money. And try to. You'll be surprised. People who have money, they're open and honest.
Absolutely.
They'll give you specific dollar figures. All those things, because they want you to succeed, and they're just happy somebody's willing to listen.
Right, and a lot of people are scared to ask those questions, man. Like a lot of people are scared. Well, I don't want them to know that I'm broke or that I'm suffering with this and then. But if it's like closed mouth doesn't get fed, right? So like if I'm sitting here knowing that okay, this guy has paid off his student debt, right? I got $50,000 worth of student debt. You know what I mean? How can I do that? I don't want to. I'm suffering in silence, right? But I think most people, if we figure out how to just build up the courage to ask a question. I mean, that's just with anything in life too. Because if you don't know, bro, you're gonna be left in the dark, right? And then you're left holding the long end of the spoon versus eating with the other end of the spoon. You understand what I'm saying? So what I want you to talk about now is what ways or what do you do to save money for yourself? Like as far as food and gas and things of that nature. Like what are you into for that part?
So, and I have to take a step back from that question. So a lot of times I meet clients and it's hard for me to work with them long term is sometimes it's not a spending problem. Sometimes it's actually an income problem. So a lot of individuals do not make enough to support the lifestyle that they want. And their focus should be more on earning as much income as possible than cutting back expenses. There's a line where I can't cut that much and I have to say, hey, we're really only going to talk about how to earn more income than anything else. But once they have enough to sustain a life, right? The key thing is prioritization. You have to live somewhere. You have to have transportation. You have to eat. Now, the question is, what type of living arrangements do you have that you really is necessary for you to be happy, okay? What is your driving mechanisms to make sure that you're happy? And the happiness is not in the actual car, the vehicle that you drive, or how you get around, but it's cost in a way that other things in your life are not hampered, okay? So it's those top three things that you need to like live and to earn income. The other things are a priority. So some people prioritize family a little bit more than others. Some people prioritize trips and vacations. And some people need to prioritize their family in the sense of having insurance for their family. So it's really understanding what is top priority for you. What are you willing to give up and not give up? And I think once that prioritization is in place, we can start filling up the bucket with the income that they earn.
Right. So what are the ways that you offer people? Like, so let's say they need more income. What are you telling them to do to earn more income?
Yeah. So, and to me, this is fun because it's an area where I can use the most of my imagination because what somebody earns is really just limited to how much they're willing to work. So I can think about different things. So something as simple to help my client. Salary negotiations.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Go ahead.
So if somebody's
I'm on salary.
Okay.
In my field.
Yep.
That is an issue with knowing how to look. I deserve this much money. I need more money. Go ahead.
Yeah, so somebody comes to me. Usually they're switching jobs. Very rarely are they staying in the same job asking for a different salary. It's just a harder conversation. So somebody receives an offer for a salary. Okay, they're excited. I want to work there. I applied there. I interviewed. I did all the work. Now they say they want me. So you're gonna naturally think, I'm just gonna accept that. But if I help them out with $4,000-$5,000 and you base that on a 3% raise every single year, I've created $50,000 of value in their life just by saying, ask for more.
Right.
Ask for $5,000 more. Ask for $10,000 more. Just ask. Challenge yourself. Say, hey, I am worth it. And a little bit, you have to do the background research. What is the paying salary, my experience, what I bring to the table, and I don't care any of that. I say ask for more, right? So the first thing is, salary negotiations. The next part is skills assessment. Do I have the skills to earn that incremental amount of money? And what are those skills? What somebody's willing to pay for it. Okay, what is somebody willing to pay for what you do? So I sit down with my clients and say, you need to earn more money. So what skills do you need to gain or to harness or to market to say this is what I do to earn those extra dollars? And those are the main ways I help clients, which it's if they offer new salary negotiation or let's go get those skills. One thing that I advise all my clients is the ability to earn money without a company.
Absolutely.
Everybody's not built to be an entrepreneur. I don't believe that. Some people, they're just not wired that way. That's not what makes them happy.
Right.
But you sure darn better be able to go out there and earn it for yourself and have a skill set that is marketable without somebody cutting you a W-2 check.
Right.
Why is that important? Because they see that. They say, when you're working in their cube or whatever, they look at you and they say, he can always go make money out on his own. I better try my best to keep him happy and on my payroll. And when they act up, you need to be confident in yourself enough to flip that switch and go out there and make that money.
Yeah, you're right. See, people need to hear that because that's very important. I deal with that on a day-to-day basis. Being a chef, being in the kitchen, like I know I can go out anywhere and make money with my hands. I'm working in the kitchen with you on your payroll, where it's like I've been in those predicaments, where somebody might be making me feel some type of way or feel less than what I am, and I have to show them like, hold, let me show you something real quick. I'll be back.
Right.
Take a vacation. You go ahead and give me 5 days off since you want to pay me this salary. I'll take my vacation, go over somewhere else and make $2,000, $3,000. You know what I'm saying? Just to show somebody, and that's very important because God bless us with gifts and talents and skills. We all not meant to just work for somebody.
Right.
We're supposed to be able, like you said, go out and earn it yourself. Whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're just using just only your hands or whatever skills you may have. You just want to be a painter. You want to paint pictures and go sell them for $1,000. You don't got to have a business. It's I can do this, so I'm going to sell it. You know what I'm saying? That's very important. See, people don't, I believe a big issue in our community is people get so trapped in the mindset. It's almost like that slave mentality. And I hate to get wrapped up in it too much, but it's a very real thing. People are so content with having that subservient attitude and pleasing other people that they lose their own, they waste their gifts, I should say.
Yeah.
They lose respect for themselves and they belittle themselves. And I'm like, it's 2020 this year.
Clear vision.
Clear vision, and I'm not being that humble anymore. I'm very humble, and I will remain that way to an extent, but I can't sell myself short. And I feel like a lot of people out here, y'all need to understand, don't sell yourself short. Go out and get it. If you can earn for yourself and supply for your family, that's good. Do that on your own. And then take the next step to reach the next level. And then boss up. And I say boss up and get bossed around and learn how to deal with your money.
What I'll add to that is I think people need to recognize that you are a brand.
Absolutely.
Right. The government gives us Social Security numbers because, it's a business for them as well, too. And understanding that you yourself are a brand. So whatever you value yourself as, right? So let's say I need to make 150, I need to make 225, right? If I accept anything less than what I feel like my brand is worth, I've sold myself short. Right. I've sold my children short. I've sold my grandchildren short as well. You got to think about hustling for your last name and not just your first name.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? Because we all have legacies to leave. You're going to leave this earth, right? And the thing that's important for me is, are my kids going to be able to say, okay, well, I can go somewhere and work here without having to apply? Or, well, my dad left me this, and this. Right? And that gave me a nice little step because a lot of times, man, especially in our community, we're probably the only community that doesn't have people live together until they're financially stable. And we also are the only community that as soon as you get to 18, you're getting out. What is it? Military or college, or you gotta get a job, right? And we also the only community where mom's gonna take money to help pay her mortgage because you're staying here, right? Where you're not really forced to do that. And I think it's important for us to start that now and say, look, from this point on, like my son, okay, man, you come on up, you're 18, listen, once you get out of college, you're going to come back here to stay, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to get this amount of money for a down payment. We're going to fix your credit if you have any student loans. Hopefully I did my job. You don't have any, but if I didn't, and, you had to acquire more money, we're going to stay here till you pay these off and can get a nice little 3% whatever down payment on a house. And you got to live within your means and then knowing stuff. So it's also teaching them things, stuff like that. And speaking of like investments, right? So investing in your child, right? There was a huge acquisition by Charles Schwab acquiring Ameritrade. What are your opinions on that? And how do you think that's going to change how people invest?
Yeah. So for folks who don't know, Charles Schwab is one of the largest brokerage firms out there. We're talking about trillions of dollars. Okay, and they're a big player. A lot of times we don't talk about, we talk about certain companies, don't talk about these. And what happened, what people don't realize is, and they made an announcement, Charles Schwab cut trading fees all the way down to zero. When you invest back in the day meaning literally a year ago, you would have to have a fee charge to make a trade. I want to buy a stock of Apple. Fine, here goes you have to pay us $2 to do that transaction. And that's traditionally how a brokerage company made money, commissions and fees, right? But the fees have been compressing slowly. First it was Fidelity, and now Charles Schwab cut all those things down to zero. Okay, and they did this for a reason, okay, and to acquire TD Ameritrade, because they knew that Charles Schwab actually doesn't make that much money off trading. They make money off the cash in your account. Similar to how a bank use your cash in your account and they lend it out to other institutions. A brokerage company is no different from that. The cash in that brokerage account, and everybody has a little bit of cash, they lend that out. So that's how Charles Schwab was making money. TD Ameritrade still made, off the traditional way, most of their money off those transactions. So when they cut that down to zero, it forced Ameritrade to cut those fees down to zero, which made them less of a desirable company. So Charles Schwab came in and gobbled them up at a significantly better price because they know how to run their business without charging that high of a commission off those trades. So it's in the market. There's a lot of gamesmanship. So, but how does that affect me?
There we go.
Like me on Main Street. Well, first, I have to be harsh. We have to begin investing for it to matter.
Yes.
How do you start?
So
how do you start investing? Yeah, so how would you advise somebody like myself, just fresh out the grass, how to get investing?
See, I appreciate that question because everybody say, I want to get rich, I want to put money, but they don't say from ground zero, how do I get in this game? How can I care about Charles Schwab and Ameritrade and that become relevant to my life? So the first thing I ask somebody to ask that question is, what is the purpose for the money?
Facts.
Do not invest in the equity bond market unless you have a 5-year time horizon. That means you do not need these funds for 5 years.
Don't pocket watch.
That's right. That way, when the market goes down, you're not caught up into that. Since the beginning of the stock market, there has not been a 3-year period of lost returns. People say, oh, you can lose your money. It's very risky. Do these other things. But if you have a 3-year period, systematically, you're almost guaranteed to get your money back at a minimum. And you're probably going to get a little bit more change in your pocket. So the first one is, what is your time horizon? If it's over 5 years, let's go into the investment market. Now, there's so many different types of investment vehicles, right? So the first investment vehicle is a traditional brokerage account. That's where you go in, invest your money, pick your equities. You can buy a company like Apple, right? And you actually can participate in the profits of that company and the dividends they pay. For equity, you can earn money in 2 different ways. One, the stock appreciation, which means it's going up in value. You hear them saying this stock is worth this much now. And the second way is through dividends, and that's a check that the company writes directly to you. Okay, so that's how a brokerage account works. And you could do some debt instruments, which are all they do is write you a check for a given time period. Now, that's how to invest. There's 2 different things. There's asset allocation, which is stocks, bonds, Apple, Microsoft, where your investments are going. But there's also asset location. We talked about a brokerage account. But if you're really talking about pure retirement, right, money that you need in about 20, 15 years, I think a lot of us heard something called a Roth IRA.
Yes.
You can open that up at the same Charles Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard type company. And all you have to do is clearly click on with your mouse and say, instead of a brokerage account, I want a Roth account. What is the benefits? Within a brokerage account, you have to pay taxes. When you receive that dividend, you're taxed on that dividend. When your stock appreciates and you sell that for a profit, you get taxed on that money. But with the Roth account, those monies are never taxed because it assumes after you've earned your income and paid with your tax return, that money is going to go tax-free. The caveat is you can't take that money out until you're 59 and a half. So the first question is so important. When do you need that money, right? If it's something in 10 years, I want to go buy a building, then you go with the brokerage account. But if something is about, I don't need this money and I really want to secure my retirement, then you can do something like a Roth IRA. There's so many different vehicles. So remember, it's asset allocation, but also what's important is asset location, which vehicle that I'm using to put my money in to grow the money.
How much money do I need? It sounds like
so you
a
need
brokerage. I'd be more interested in like a brokerage account. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, brokerage account. So the amount of money differs. Everybody's had different opinions, but because transaction fees are now zero, because it's relevant now, because you want to invest, and now you know how, you can go online and just go into www.fidelity, www.vanguard, www.charlesschwab, and click, I want to open an account, just like you would a savings account.
Really? It's
so
that easy?
That's
Just
easy.
link your bank out to it and press the button.
That is it.
And then how much money would you put
So
in?
I've had clients start off as low as $500.
Okay.
There's no fee to get into the game. So as long as they tell me, Randall, I don't need this money for the next 5+ years, come on, let's go and invest. I sit down with them and I tell them, so for somebody who's beginning, because of the time it takes to really assess an investment, there's something called a target date retirement fund. Okay. What that does is it takes into account when you're going to retire, and it actually does that asset allocation for you. All you have to do is buy that specific investment. So what I recommend is somebody with $500, invest in that. Next $500, invest in that. And it'll automatically allocate it for you for your best interest for whatever dates. It will continue to.
And then you said 5+ years. So what would you imagine? And of course with like the guidance of somebody like yourself.
Correct.
If you was to show me the best place to invest my $500, in 5 years, what am I looking at? Because some people think, oh, I'm gonna put $500, I'm gonna get $100,000 in 5 years. $200,000, maybe $50,000.
Yep.
You know?
So on average, you're looking on average. So there are going to be up years and down years. You're going to look in between 6 to 12% return on your invested money. Okay. So the beauty of it is, and I think what people, which is good for entrepreneurship or anything concept, is you're making that money not working.
Right. Exactly.
People complain about the amount, but you're really sitting back and not working. And to me, that's in some ways, unless you think about real estate, you have to work for that.
Yes.
You have to sign on a tenant. You have to make sure the house is up to date. Something breaks, you have to show up. You are literally sitting down and making money. And remember, as long as you can wait 3 years, you're probably going to get your capital back and a little bit more of return. The goal in life is to make as much money as possible sitting down.
Always.
I work with a lot of retirees, and we have gumption now. We're young, we're energized, all that stuff, right? We want to make a difference in this world. But there's going to come a point in time where something will shift. And it might not happen over a year. It might be happening in a second, and say, I don't want to work anymore. Right. I don't want to do this anymore. Right? And let's prepare for that. Let's like saying, anticipating something coming on in the future. Let's be adults and actually prepare for that event to happen.
Facts.
Yeah.
So how much do you think a millennial like myself should save before thinking about retirement?
So there's something called the rule of 4%. And let's all pull out our phones. How about that?
Let's do that.
You know, because these people are watching, and it's just a simple pull out the calculator on your phone. The question is always, and you can give me a real number or a fake number, how much do you want to have in income per year in retirement? Just give me
70,000.
I was gonna shoot
At least.
100,000.
Okay. So let's
Yeah, I would love 100,000.
okay.
Sure.
Let's do 100,000 because it's just easy math. Okay. All you have to do is divide that number by 4%. So 0.04 for those math 0.04. So you would need to save up $2.5 million to produce 4% of income for the remainder of your retirement life.
Wow.
So when somebody says, how much do I need to have saved up? The question is flipped back and saying, how much do you want to earn in retirement? And that's the number that you should be shooting for. A lot of people argue, is it 4%, 5%, 6%? It doesn't matter. That's the number you should be shooting for to make sure that, hey, I'm secure because this $100,000 is a lifestyle I want to live in retirement.
Okay, so what are some ways to save besides investing? What would you?
So I think I heard on one of the podcasts you guys did, the first thing you do is invest in yourself.
Yes.
Right.
You're going to receive the highest return on capital and making sure, iron sharpens iron, you're as sharp as possible and able to make the maximum amount of income. I can help somebody retire a lot quicker if they make $100,000 versus $70,000 per year, right? So make sure you're making the most of what God has entrusted you to do in your life, okay? After that, a lot of people who work the corporate jobs utilize your retirement accounts, your IRAs, your 401ks. Take that up to the point that your company matches. Then you go into your Roth IRA, right? And then after you've maximized all those, you can go into your brokerage account, okay? Once you begin saving up enough money, playing games like real estate, do things like open a franchise. Let me tell you something, that a lot of times we limit our imagination because of the amount of money we actually have, right? It's painful to think about what I can't have. I don't want to think about yachts. I don't want to think about those type of vacations because I can't go on them. Right. The same thing is with your money and creativity with your mind. Once you have $40,000, you dream like you have $40,000 to spend. Right. Once you have $1 million, you dream like you have $1 million. Give yourself license to dream by saving and stacking up.
Absolutely.
And ideally, you're supposed to invest in yourself and save at the same time. You can find that balance. Everybody's number is different.
Let me ask you this. So some people are only going to retire with the 401k and depend on Social Security. Would you suggest having a 401k, Social Security, and an IRA, and also having a brokerage firm? That's what you're trying to say. Try to stack the deck as much as possible. Yeah, correct. Right. Okay, so I think.
And let me add on that because there's caps on each type of investment. Right. My goal for all my clients is that they meet those caps. There's only so much you can put in your 401k. Yes. There's only so much you can put in your Roth. Right. And I want my clients to earn enough, enjoy life enough as well to cap out all those things. So you're going to have those by default. Yes. Because you're doing right.
Right. And then, so pretty much by doing all of that, what you're saying is it could be possible to get that $2.5 million through all of those ways in order to live that $100,000.
Yeah. One of the most enjoyable things for me is to call a client. Mm-hmm. Hey, how you doing? I want to tell you something. Your account balance has made it to $1 million. Mm. Okay. I work with people who look like us, older, but they look like us. Having that fulfillment in life, knowing that they're taken care of, their kids are taken care of. This is going to, at a minimum, they're going to transition about $300,000 to their kids. Imagine being at around 30 or 40, getting $300,000 cash inflow, how that would change your life, how you're going to invest differently in your kids. I have fun with what I do. Okay, I enjoy it, but it's not a game. Right. Like I'm really entrusted with people's money, life savings, what they sweat for, right. and them making that $1 million. It happens a lot more than we think with people who look like us, who grow up in the communities that we are. They just don't drive that type of car. You won't know.
Exactly.
Right. See, to piggyback off of that, the youth, the children, setting your kids up, your grandkids up. What's too young? Like what's the age limit? Say if I have a kid and I say, my son's just born, maybe 5 days old, whatever, and I have the knowledge that you got, hopefully one day I'll be able to be in that boat. But what's too young to say, all right, I'm gonna invest this amount of stock in my kid's name? Is it fresh out the womb? Is it 10 years old, 5 years old? Like, it's too young.
So we got to talk a little bit about legality.
Exactly.
Before they turn 18, they cannot have an account in their name. Okay, they can be listed as your beneficiary, all those things. So they'll never have an account within their name. But I think what you're more alluding to is more education. How can I have them financially mature adults? I don't want them to be a kid at 18 thinking about money like I was, okay? Right. Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors, he worked in his dad's brokerage firm. Okay, that's what others do, right? They have a job, like you work as a chef. So you're definitely going to have your kid in the kitchen serving, and they're going to have a mature knowledge on how to prepare food. Mm-hmm. Everything else in life is the same. The way they clean up the house, the way they take care and love other people. You want them to have a mature way of giving back, but also a mature way of handling money. Mm-hmm. So exposing them to say, hey, let's call him John. John, this is your stock. You own a stock in Disney. Every movie Disney puts out that we go see, you own a piece of it.
Right.
Johnny, you just earned a dividend. Johnny, your stock just appreciated. 3-year period, we're guaranteed to grow. Johnny's going to know that 3-year period because he's going to live it again and again and again and again. He becomes an old man with money by the time he's 18. And he's going to be surprised at some of the things that the other kids don't know just because exposure, what we started off with. Yeah. So I would recommend you just show them, make them feel a sense of ownership. And if you have the money, say, hey, whatever you save, I'll match it. And that's how we really go. I'll 4 times it. Just don't let the brokerage world, the investment world be a new thing to them, because then they're going to watch things, they're going to learn things, who's the CEO, and it just changes the game.
Right. Absolutely. And then they're not scared of it, right? So they're well versed in it, and then they feel comfortable with also researching things and investing their own money, plus what my dad got, and I can just go ahead and just really build myself up along with the platform my parents have already set for me. I love that. Let's talk about, there may be a looming recession, all right? A, do you believe that recession is coming? And B, if it is a recession, what should I do to prepare myself for that recession?
The one thing, it goes back to understanding how life really works. There's always a recession coming. We know this. It is coming. We don't know when. If it's coming in a year. We don't know if it's 2 years. But if I know one's coming, how should my bank account be? Right. How should I be saved up? Right. How should my skill set be in the market in which somebody will always need that skill set, even if they're hurting for money, right? Do I believe that a recession is coming? I believe we've extended this time period of economic expansion. So this year alone, the stock market has gained around 27 to 30%. Remember I said the average is 7. So we a third of your money you have made on your money if you were fully invested. But guess what? None of us, or a lot of us, are not participating in that. Right. We need to participate in that. I mean, my clients look at me like I'm a genius, but really it's just the market continually to go up. Right. Just giving them access to those different things. So always keep your house in order for bad times. Don't extend yourself, and I think you'll always be prepared for a recession.
Right. So do you fear Trump's economic plans will really be a detriment to our generation and the future generations? Do you feel like right now it's good enough? And is it really Trump's economic plan? That's the other question.
So a lot of what Trump has the benefit of, he inherited a great economy, right? Obama came in, 2008, like I said, when I started my career, I thought the world was going to end. I thought they was going to fire me. There were layoffs all around me, which gave me a bad taste in my mouth for corporate America. But that's another story we can get into. So he inherited a good economy. But what did he actually do, I think is important. First thing he did, tax cuts. He literally almost cut corporate tax in half. So imagine you get half, you have to pay half the taxes. That means more money is going in your pocket, and that's how we're able to get a 30% increase in 1 year in the stock market. Okay? So the first one is cut checks. The second thing he did was deregulation. So he went and said, no, that law doesn't make sense. Let's get rid of it. No, that law doesn't. That holds people back from doing different things, right? Regulation is usually a good thing. It keeps people from stealing things. It keeps people from pouring sewer into the lake, all those different things, right? So we need regulation. But he cut those things back, and because they cut those things back, companies can make more money, which increases the stock market, right? It does things like that. Now, the issue is there becomes a point where you decrease the regulation so much, right, that people do start pouring things into the lake. People do start taking advantage of people. And at some point, that is going to come to roost. We just haven't reached that point. Life goes in cycles, right? So things are going to come to fruit. Now, he is taking credit for it. I don't think he should take 100% of the credit for it, but he is doing everything to pump the market up. Now, the issue is the average person is not participating. The average person actually getting a little bit poorer because they see everything else glitz and glamour and they try to keep up. So that's going to be a time, and it's not just us, there are poor whites who are suffering in this world, right? And that is what really is ironically his base. But as long as they suffer, there's going to be a time when the roosters come home to roost.
Absolutely, kind of like that pipeline bursting, and that's the first of many, right? So let's see here. One more thing. All right. So as far as New Year goes, what should be a New Year goal? Well, first give me a New Year goal for yourself. And then I want you to give me a New Year goal for a person who is starting to save and looking to invest. Like, okay, what should be my plan here?
One of my number one New Year's goals is continue to increase my asset under management. So right now I have $7.3 million that I help my clients manage, right? The goal is to increase that. Two ways. One, I grow the assets that I have today, but I also encourage other people to invest with me. And that's making sure I'm out and about, meeting the correct people. And it's like I said, it's those people who drive those Toyota Priuses. Those are my client base, right? People you would not know, but it's really just being out there, being genuine, saying, I'm here to help. The people I work with, they've been successful, right? They've been able to save up a lot of money. So they can see through what's genuine and not genuine, and they know sincerity when they see it. So it's really being out there and attracting that amount of money. Because as I grow those assets and help them grow their assets, I can be a bigger impact on the world. Now let's talk about financial goal setting.
There we go.
A lot of people want to do something as simple as having an emergency fund, which is the number one thing I encourage everybody to have. What is an emergency fund? 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. How much do I need to live in a month? Multiply that time 3 or 6, and that's the amount of money you need to have in your savings account. Remember what I said, a lot of times our imagination is limited because we can't see things beyond what we've actually saved. So once you have $6,000, guess what? You think of $6,000 investment opportunities. It changes the game. Once you reach there, we can talk about other different type of investments and things that you can do to secure your family's future. But I think that emergency fund should be everybody's top priorities as far as saving.
Yeah, that's definitely about my goal. I need that emergency fund. Yeah, for sure. That's smart. I just opened up a savings account. Again, I've had a few of them, but I messed them up. You know what I'm saying?
It happens. Last thing I want to hit for those entrepreneurs, there's probably a lot of entrepreneurs that watch this show. You need to have a higher amount of cash reserves if you're an entrepreneur, okay? Because stuff happens. You have to pay people, vendors happen. You need to make once in a lifetime investments, and you need to hop on opportunities. You may need to fly to Dubai. You need to front that plane cost, right? Things of that nature. So as an entrepreneur, cash flow is the things that kills most businesses. You know that. This is fact. So since we know that, let's prepare for it just like we do everything else with our life.
Absolutely. Man. Well, man, look, man, you my cousin. I'm proud of you, man. You know, I love you to death. And hopefully you guys got something from this, because clearly there was a lot of jewels being just dropped.
For sure. We appreciate that.
We appreciate it. And I think it's important that people see someone who looks like them, right, and is young, relatively in the game speaking. You might act 50, but he's really 33, about to be 34. But I think it's brilliant, because usually when we think about finance, we think about like older people who are like 50, 60, and some dude in a suit making money off of that type of stuff, man. But I think that seeing you is very important. You, people like Ja'Cory, and let people know that, hey, I can start at any time I want. I don't have to wait till I'm 40, 50, because then I might miss the ball. You know what I mean? So I just want to go ahead and just tell you, man, thank you for what you do for our people, man, because a lot of our parents depend on Social Security, right? They don't know that, okay, man, I can go and start investing. They don't know that maybe I should, so I don't have to live off Social Security solely, right? Because it's important to talk about IRAs, talk about 401ks. Pensions are gone. They're dead unless you work for the government. You know what I mean? So I think you giving people the option, and also changing mind states too. And I hope people, when y'all watch this, that y'all mind state kind of changes as far as keeping up with the Joneses. And also, do I really need that big Benz? Do I need that $600,000 house and it's just me, my wife, and probably one child? Or can I do well with, okay, I might just do a $250,000 house. I can get a nice little Accord, or I can get something Accord with leather seats versus the Benz with the leather seats and the drop top and all of that stuff with the rims, the Forgiatos, when they're both going to take you to the same place. And I think that's important, man. And I appreciate you, man. And pretty much all we had. Got any more questions before we dip?
Nah, man, I appreciate it.
Any social media handles we can all find?
Yes.
you guys?
Instagram RSavior50. You can check me out on Facebook. It's going to be under Randall Avery. I have 2 business pages, RSA Diesel Advisors, and Hacking the System by Creating Your Own System is a Facebook page there. Please check out the book if you want information on how I think about money and how things flows. On my website and on all my handles, you can have information to contact me if you want to learn more about finance. I'm all about helping. As long as I don't have to pull out a spreadsheet or do any research, I'll give the information to you freely. Just don't bog down my time. That's all I have.
All righty.
Thank you, man. We appreciate you, brother.
Well,
For sure.
like always, guys, thank you for tuning in, man. We love you so much, man. And peace out, man. Be a good person.